Let's get this out of the way. Assetto Corsa is still the king of drifting, and I'm not here to argue against that. OGAC's got the cars, tracks, servers, and years of people building on top of it. But I wanted to try something different. I used the same S15 WDTS drift car and ran it back to back with AC EVO. EVO's still early, so this isn't a verdict on a finished converted car. I just wanted to see what happens when a car I know well hits EVO's physics. By the end of the session, it had me thinking EVO might already be doing one thing better. Starting out in OGAC, this is exactly what I expect from a good drift car in this sim. It's easy to place, the rear steps out naturally, and the steering is giving me enough feedback that I'm not having to think too hard about catching the slide. This is why AC has stuck around this long for drifting. Once the car is moving, there's a rhythm that's just easy to fall into. What really stands out is just how familiar all of it feels. When I chuck the car, I basically already know what it's about to do. If the rear steps out, I'll countersteer with small throttle adjustments and hold it right where I want. Now, it's not perfect, and I'm not saying every drift car in OGAC feels dialed in, but when a car is built well, OGAC still has this natural flow that it's hard to beat. And that's the benchmark I'm bringing into EVO. So I kept this comparison pretty simple. Same lines and same way of driving into the corner. I'm not chasing lap times here, and I'm not trying to say one version's more realistic just because it feels different. What I actually care about is how the car loads up before it breaks away, and how it catches and whether I can feel the limit coming before I already passed it. Because for drifting, that's basically everything. If the car only tells you what happened after it's already snapped loose, you're too late. Switching over to EVO, the first thing I had to do was actually slow myself down a bit. The timing was just different, and I hadn't really adjusted to it yet. The first couple of laps were really just me warming up, trying to drive the same lines I had in the OGAC. Same entries and same general idea. Keeping it real, I think I was almost hunting for what felt wrong. I had to remind myself that this is early mod support and EVO itself is still changing under the hood. So I didn't want to jump to a verdict before I actually given it a fair shot. I started noticing something. The car felt like it had more weight behind its own movement. Like there was an actual mass shifting around. When I loaded the rear tire, it didn't snap straight from grip to slide. There was this small window where I could actually feel the car building towards angle before it let go, which is what got my attention. To be clear, OGAC still feels smoother and more complete as a drift platform overall, no question. But the way EVO's car leans into the slide feels convincing, and it was convincing enough that I kept driving and kept paying attention to it. The biggest thing for me though was the limit and how it actually feels to approach it. In the original AC, I'm comfortable because I already knew the rhythm. I know the car wants to rotate and how to catch it, almost like autopilot at this point. But in Evo, I had to actually listen to the car more. If I'm lazy, it wouldn't rotate the way I wanted, and the car's not going to bail me out. It's not going to magically clean up a bad input, but when the timing was right, the slide felt genuinely satisfying. This is where the whole comparison started to get really interesting for me. OGAC still feels a bit more finished overall, but Evo in these moments felt like it was giving me more information before the car fully let go. Now, at this point, I'm still not ready to say Evo is better for drifting. That'd be way too early to call. OGAC's got too much history behind it with the drift packs, tracks, servers, and years of refinement. Evo's nowhere near that yet, but this is genuinely the first time I've driven a drift car in Evo and wasn't just cataloging everything that's missing. I actually started thinking about what it might be doing well. The car itself wasn't as polished, but the actual feel of loading the tire and catching angle and managing the slide through the corner started to make real sense to me. And right around this point in the run, it sort of clicked. I stopped comparing it like a checklist and just started driving the car. I was able to read the rear and the steering made sense. It felt natural enough that I actually trusted it, and that's kind of wild considering this is still an early converted drift car running on an early build of Evo. So big shout out to EvoForge for doing this conversion. It doesn't replace the OGAC, but it made me feel something I genuinely didn't expect going into this, that Evo could eventually turn into a really serious drift rival. Okay, so here's where I land on all this. Triple OG Assetto Corsa is still the king for drifting. That hasn't changed, and it's not changing today. But AC EVO might already be doing one thing that's genuinely interesting, making the tire limit a little easier to read. And that's enough for me to start paying attention. If EVO keeps building on this, drifting might actually end up being one of the places where the new physics really separate themselves from the original game. And in all honesty, I didn't expect to be saying that this early. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.